What is your observation on the events that unfolded on January 22nd?
All the wings of RSS, VHP, Bajrang Dal, and all of them have been working round the clock to create a sort of a social hysteria. Indices about rising prices, rising unemployment, farmers' problems, lower middle class problem, rising poverty, and rising deprivations. So all these things, I don't think we can keep them under the wraps. This BJP cannot keep it under the wraps for too long. All the things were taken over by political forces, and the sons and mahants, the Shankracharyas, we were nowhere in the forefront. These hysterical upsurges, they cannot be a permanent feature of people's life. The idea of India which emerged with freedom movement and with Constitution of India, that has been severely undermined on 22nd January. And Hindu nationalism, as it has become stronger and stronger through shakhas and through RSS training, they have influenced the social thinking in a strong way. But a very powerful organization which wants Hindu nation has been doing it very consistently, and that has not been countered by the people who believe in secularism and democracy.
Hello and welcome to the News Minute. On January 22nd, the country witnessed a huge spectacle where mixing of politics and religion was in full display at the Plan Pratishta ceremony of the Ayodhya Ram Temple, and the Prime Minister himself leading the entire event. And this has created a huge amount of momentum for the BJP electorally speaking. And apart from that, it has also triggered a lot of criticism. A lot of people are concerned about what next. Are we heading towards a Hindu Rashtra? Are we heading towards more stronger ideas of Hindu nationalism in this country? To talk about this, I have with me Dr. Ram Puniyani. He is the president of Center for Study of Society and Secularism. Thank you so much for talking to us, sir. What is your observation on the events that unfolded on January 22nd?
See, as we all saw, it was a big spectacle was created. All the wings of RSS, VHP, Bajrang Dal, and all of them have been working round the clock to create a sort of a social hysteria, and it has affected many parts of the country in which people have been involved in have been made to be involved in this sort of programs by distributing akshat, by putting up flags, by organizing food, by organizing bhajans in different temples, and it is a sort of a thing which I think has never been seen before. Many people tried to celebrate it as Diwali, and all this was very well orchestrated, very well planned by the RSS and its company, BJP being one of it. So it, I think, was a spectacle which is definitely meant for political goals of the forthcoming elections. It has nothing to do with religiosity which basically comes from inside and is a sort of a devotion for the one's spiritual idols, Lord Ram being one of them. But it was totally all over, all the things were taken over by political forces. And the sons and mahants, the Shankracharyas, were nowhere in the forefront. And I was also shocked to see that in many places they had put the cutouts of Lord Ram. Generally, Lord Ram's cutouts are surrounded by the Lord Ram is accompanied by Sita and Lakshman. Here, the cutouts were surrounded. Lord Ram was surrounded on one side by Modi, on another side by Amit Shah, and these sort of combination. So, what I think it is unprecedented. It has never happened in the history of India. and they have never bothered that making a political official event out of a religious function, what will be its impact on large sections of people who have different faith and who have different ideas. And even within Hindu community, there may be many who may not be wanting to have such a display of religiosity in political space.
So when you say that this was a spectacle, this was a clear case of mixing religion with politics in such huge scale. What will be the impact? You are someone who have been closely tracking the North Indian states that are communally sensitive. In that atmosphere, what is the impact that this particular event is going to create?
See, in North India, parts of it like UP and parts of Bihar, parts of Rajasthan and MP, it may try to tilt the opinion of the people, but I think this cannot last long because these hysterical upsurges, they cannot be a permanent feature of people's life, because ultimately, leaving apart the affluent and the well-to-do people, the ordinary people have to come back to their life and have to look at the issues of bread, butter, shelter, which are very disturbing these days. So there may be calculations that this will tilt the political landscape, but I feel that this impact will not last long. It will be temporary, and of course, it will consolidate a upper class, upper sections of Hindu community. But by and large, the average Hindus, average people will be very disturbed by the whole social situation which is prevailing about rising prices, unemployment, and all those things which are a regular problem of life. So people will have to focus more on their daily livelihood. Of course, affluent people can afford to keep singing bhajans and keep projecting the Lord in the political space. But for average people, it is a difficult thing.
But when you say that for average people, it's a different thing. For people from middle class, they see it from a different lens. But the kind of emotions that were pouring in on social media or even on mainstream media, they are trying to make this as something which is a huge achievement as far as the Hindus are concerned. Because one section of the society clearly thinks that this is a huge victory that they have built Ram Temple, and that is something that the BJP wants ahead of the 2024 elections.
Nee, I do agree with you that Ram Temple construction has been made into a big issue. Last 30 years, if you see, starting from 6th December 1992, when the Babri Mosque was demolished through a well organized plan, till all these last close to 30 years, they have been creating a sort of a social consciousness around these issues. And sections of Hindus, as I said, have been taken by this, that, oh, Lord Ram is coming after 500 years. Now, this is a make believe thing, there is no truth in it. So, whether this make believe construct will rule people's mind for all the times to come, I have my doubts, because there are also efforts to tell the truth of the society that this there, as Supreme Court had ruled that there was no Ram temple underneath the mosque. Supreme Court had also ruled that demolition of mosque was a crime. It also ruled that on 1949, when the Ram Lalla idols were kept, that was also a crime. So those truth of the history will dawn upon the sections of society. And of course, religion can be used to dull people's sensations. And many in the social this thing groups, social media groups, are going gaga about the whole thing. But I think this has come. This will not last long. That is my personal feeling, because I am seeing all the indices about rising prices, rising unemployment, farmers' problems, lower middle class problem, rising poverty. and rising deprivations. So all these things, I don't think we can keep them under the wraps. This BJP cannot keep it under the wraps for too long. And that 5 kilo ration for 80 crore of people is a shame on a country that 80 crore of people cannot earn enough to have their two square meals with decency. So though I am also aware that the type of this whole thing which has been created is very huge, and all media, all major media is gaga about it. But somehow, how much this can last may be a $1 million question. But I think the issues of people are very strong, and they cannot be suppressed by these things for too long.
So, in your piece on The Wire, you have said that the idea of India that stands for equality, fraternity, and liberty is under threat today. Why do you say so? Because do you think that this is a clear onslaught on the idea of India?
Yeah. Yeah, that is of course true, because the idea of India which emerged with freedom movement, if you see in freedom movement, we have the participation of people of all the religions, and the freedom movement was a major marker in the history of the subcontinent, because it brought in the values of liberty, equality, fraternity, justice. And in that, it was not only that people of one community participated, all people of all religions participated in equal measure if one sees it in detail. If Hindus are there, Muslims are also there in equal proportion, Christians are also there, Sikhs are also there. So everybody was a part of this emerging idea of India. This emerging idea of India got consolidated in our Constitution of India. And Constitution of India, when it talks of equality, it talks that we ourselves are giving us this constitution, means it has emerged from our movement. And when we talk of equality, then equality for people of all the religions. And the idea of India was reflected by Nehru very well when the issue of Somnath Temple came up. Now, many people demanded that Somnath Temple should be constructed by the government as a government support, as it has been done by in the case of Ram Temple. So that time, Nehru writes that he and Sardar Patel both went to Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was alive before his death. They went to him and they asked him, Bapu, that they are asking that state should contribute to this, state should get involved in it. And Gandhi clearly said, Gandhi was the most devout Hindu amongst of the whole 20th century. I will say he was the greatest Hindu of 20th century. And he said that state should not get involved in this temple constructions. And same thing Nehru continued further when President Rajendra Prasad expressed his wish to go and inaugurate Somnath Temple. That time cabinet passed a resolution that president should not go and inaugurate, but in his official capacity. So he went in his personal capacity, and he performed the inauguration of the Somnath Temple. So that is the idea of India, where religion is valued, religion is respected, but all religions are respected, all religions are valued, and they are not made a official part of the state policy. So that now is totally undermined. That idea of India is under great threat. Or I don't think it has been abolished, because still I see a lot of potential in the real idea of India becoming stronger over a period of time. But that is a matter of optimism and hope and wish. But the idea of India which emerged with freedom movement and with Constitution of India, that has been severely undermined on 22nd January.
And also, the way the society thinks, like earlier they used to have some kind of values for secular ideas and secular politics, but now it appears that a
Yeah,
section of society strongly believes that they don't need secularism.
yeah. See, what has happened, one thing I must say, that as this idea of inclusive idea of India developed, those who believed in Hindu nationalism and Muslim nationalism. Muslim nationalism actually has played havoc in Pakistan, and Hindu nationalism, as it has become stronger and stronger through shakhas and through RSS training, they have influenced the social thinking in a strong way. I concede the point that the social thinking which had to accompany the idea of India, the ideas of democracy, secularism, socialism, that ideas were not taken to the people the way it should have been taken. On the other side, the Hindu nationalists, they kept working in their shakhas round the clock. They kept spreading that this is a Hindu nation, Muslims are foreigners, Christians are foreigners. So they had their own definition of citizenship, which is not in tune with what Indian Constitution says. So that they worked heavily on social consciousness, social common sense, and spreading it through their shakhas, through media, and now from 2003 they are controlling the whole of television media, whole of major part of the newspapers and media. On the top of it, they have started IT cell, and they have developed lakhs of social this thing WhatsApp groups through which they keep spreading this. So this, as Noam Chomsky says, manufacturing consent. This is something similar to that. The here state is not doing it, but a very powerful organization which wants Hindu nation has been doing it very consistently, and that has not been countered by the people who believe in secularism and democracy. Actually, the forces which believe in secularism and democracy, I think in hindsight, they have failed in creating a social thinking around these values, because society does need a set of social thinkings which accompanies any major social change. And if this thinking process does not change, the retrograde thinking takes over, and that is what we are witnessing today. As you correctly observe, that in many social media groups and all that, what dominates is the narrative constructed by Hindu nationalist majoritarian forces.
And some also argue that this is, one step towards India being declared as a Hindu Rashtra. Or some people say that we are already in Hindu Rashtra. How do you see all this?
Yeah, see, actually, partly both the things have some truth in that. The way things have been going on from last 10 years, most of the concepts of secularism and democracy, and by the way, secularism and democracy, they go hand in hand. They are two sides of the same coin. So all these policies have been undermined. So as much as possible, these Hindu nationalist forces are wriggling the space away from the democratic forces. And during last year, 10 years, lot of damage has been done, which earlier also there was attack on this idea. But see, I have some hope in the coming times, especially from last 1.5 years. I have developed some hope, and that hope first came with the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which articulated the needs of the people, which operated on the secular ground, democratic ground, and which is now coming further again, reinforced in the Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra. So these are giving me some hope, and large sections of society who do not want a sectarian nationalism or nationalism in the name of religion, I think they will rally around these concepts. It doesn't matter which party leads. Question is, ideas of secularism and democracy have to be in the driving seat. I must point out another thing. The countries where politics in the name of religion has triumphed, like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Myanmar. These in Myanmar and Sri Lanka, that has triumphed in the name of Buddhism. In Pakistan and Afghanistan, that has triumphed in the name of Islam. And you see the plight of those countries. Those countries, they slide down in all the social indices. So that, I think, realization is dawning upon large number of people. And through these yatras which were there, I am very optimistic that a large section of society will veer back to the values which our freedom struggle gave us, and which guides our nation through the constitution, which should guide our nation through the values of constitution.
So there's a lot of talk about Hindu Rashtra, in social media groups, in family WhatsApp groups, and all of it. But Doctor, can you just explain to our viewers, what exactly is the concept of Hindu Rashtra? What exactly is
Yeah.
the RSS and the BJP that wants to achieve? Because RSS is going to complete its 100 years of existence. So at this juncture, what we are seeing is something that we are heading towards that. So what exactly is this concept, and what exactly will this do to this country?
See, the basic concept of Hindu Rashtra veers around the values of caste, gender, and class hierarchy as outlined in Manusmriti. Let me remind you, when Indian Constitution was came into this thing, the opposition to this started from RSS quarters, who said that this Constitution has nothing Indian about it, means it doesn't consider the values of Manusmriti. So now also they are talking that civilizational values bracket Manusmriti, Brahminism, and upper caste domination, male domination bracket closed, these are the civilizational values. Now, this is how they are countering the Indian Constitution. Earlier, many RSS leaders said Indian Constitution should be done away with, and Constitution based on Indian holy book should be brought back. Now they have refined their language, and they are saying that India is a civilizational country, meaning thereby that values of bracket coming from Varna system, from Vedas to Manusmriti should be brought back. So Hindu Rashtra basically means caste, gender, and class hierarchy, which is based on birth. So now also hierarchies are there, but they are fluid and they are changeable. But and even women's equality we are trying to achieve in some measure. So all this will be put back. Women will be relegated to the secondary place. Dalits, OBC, Adivasi workers, they will be put to the second place in the society. And what to say of Muslims and Christians? They will be relegated to the second class citizenship and made to obey the dictates, cultural and all other dictates of the ruling clique.
So, during the Pran Pratishta ceremony of the Ayodhya Ram Temple, we saw the Prime Minister as the chief Ejman, accompanied by the Governor of Uttar Pradesh and the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. But there was also another person, the Sarsan Chalak of the RSS, Mohan Bhagwat. So, what exactly does this mean? What kind of messaging that the presence of RSS chief gives in that huge ceremony?
Yeah, it gives a clear message that RSS is the supreme organization which controls BJP, VHP, Bajrang Dal, ABVP, and all other organizations. And all these are aiming at Hindu Rashtra. Hindu Rashtra. And RSS has been campaigning it. Only thing is, this President Chalak has been cleverly changing the language. But the content, its language sometimes is, oh, Hindutva is incomplete without Muslims. But in shakhas, they will spread hatred against Muslims. In language, he will say, let's end the strife. But who began the strife and who's leading the strife? That all question. So it shows the supremacy of RSS. It shows the supremacy of Hindu nationalist ideology. It shows the supremacy of what I understand as a unequal society where there is no democracy, society which is authoritarian, a society which marginalizes the weaker sections of society.
Doctor, my last question to you. Like you said, that this Hindu nationalist idea needs to be fought. But how do we fight this? Like, this is not a political fight alone. We are talking in terms of 2024 elections. The opposition is thinking about how to stop, the RSS and the BJP's, march as far as elections are concerned. But this requires a larger fight. It requires a fight at all fronts. So how can secular and democratic forces, who now seem to be very disappointed with all these developments, how can they push back? How can they fight back?
Yeah. See, I think it has to be a multi-layered struggle. The first and the foremost part of the struggle is the forthcoming elections. And the message of Bharat Jodo Yatra, Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra has to be taken far and wide. And opposition, we have to do everything possible to see that India alliance seals itself and tries to fight the elections in a united way. With that, the struggle begins for people's minds, people's ideas, and we need to work from different levels through media, through books, through seminars, through videos, to show the plural, inclusive culture of India, to show the real nature of freedom movement of India, and to propagate the values of Indian Constitution in a serious way. We can't just say, "Oh, Indian Constitution is great." We have to explain in the language, people's language, what does it mean that Indian Constitution talks of equality. So those efforts at social think and also efforts at cultural level which to restore the culture of inter religious amity. Like India had seen all this all through years when Mughal courts used to celebrate Diwali and Sufi saints shrine used to celebrate Holi. Hindu women used to participate Muharram, and all these. If you see, India is full of it. So people concerned in this direction have to tighten their belt for a long battle, which is not just political, which is ideological, which believes in spreading the values of India's syncretic, plural, diverse, inclusive culture, and which translates the Indian Constitution's values in a practical way. And there, I think we need to have community centers showing good films, showing having good libraries, and having all the we have enough material. By the way, that's the only thing we have. We have good material to show the values of pluralism and secularism, but that material is not reaching the people. So for 15, 20, 30 years, we have to make a serious effort through community centers to spread those values which many of our great historians, good filmmakers, good YouTubers have created through their own efforts to have a integrated syncretic society.
Thank you so much, sir, for talking to us and putting things in perspective for the viewers of the News Minute. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.